So this keynote is bringing us insights into policy, structure, a long-term vision, how we can support creative talent across Europe. So welcome on stage, Salomé Roch.
I was mentioning the latest European Fashion Alliance report on the needs of the European creativity-driven fashion industry. And to start, I will start with the question that the European Fashion Alliance was looking to answer in this report is, what does the creative fashion industry need in order to unlock its full potential? Yes, this is it. So what does the creative fashion industry need in order to unlock its full potential? And why did we have this question to start with? It's because the fashion industry is at a turning point. The rules have been changing a lot lately. First, because we are facing a strong competition for emerging actors, and you know that, and I don't think I need to go into details. Second, because the state of technical and technological innovation is also changing fast, especially with AI, which is, for example, impacting how we do fashion today. Third, lately, we have also faced a lot of changes in the regulatory landscape, and I could even say regulatory pressure. The European Fashion Alliance has been working with the European Union authorities on a lot of regulation currently targeting the textile industry, especially in the field of sustainability. But at the same time, we are also facing a setback in those environmental ambitions. Lately, a lot of the regulation that had been discussed have been somehow downgraded. So fashion brands, and after that consumers, are a little bit lost in this landscape. And the European Fashion Alliance report is here to try to address those questions and challenges. Why did we focus on policy in this report? Because, as I was already mentioning, a lot of the key rules that are shaping the fashion industry are adopted at European Union level. First, they focus on transparency and product information, for example, which is key for a consumer in order to make good consumption choices when it comes to products. Second, they will also have an influence on sustainability and circularity requirements, meaning really the social and sustainable responsibility and quality of the products you will be buying. And third, those rules also focus on innovation and intellectual property, which are two key areas in order for a fashion industry to be strong and to thrive at European Union level. What does it mean more specifically for consumer? Because policy can seem quite far removed from daily considerations, but in the end it will have a real impact on the products you will have in your wardrobe and in the stores. So it matters to consumer first because it will have an influence on how much you pay. And of course, this is a key element. And lately, for some consumers, we have seen a switch. Some consumers now no longer focus first on quality or even design, but on price. And this is a new trend that policies need to address. Second, it will of course influence how you choose your products, depending on the information you will receive and which products you can also trust. And finally, which options remain available, because we are in a competitive market and not all of the brands can today survive due to the competition. So, before digging into the conclusions of the report, I'm taking a step back to introduce the European Fashion Alliance, for those of you who might not be familiar with it already. The European Fashion Alliance was founded in 2022, and it's a transnational alliance of organizations representing the creative segment of the fashion industry. As you know, the fashion industry is very diverse, but until EFA, the creative segment did not have a voice and was not directly represented at European Union level. And why is this important? Because we needed an organization that was really supporting, advocating, fostering for a creative, innovative, and competitive creative fashion industry. How do we do that? We try to connect industry realities with European policy frameworks, and this is precisely what we tried to do in the European Fashion Alliance report. So how did we do it? We worked a lot with the 26 members that are part of the European Fashion Alliance, mostly national fashion councils, but also cultural bodies and organizations. So this is the report that you can find also online. How did we work? We launched one study with all of the European Fashion Alliance members in order to really document industry realities, meaning what do you need, what are the challenges you are currently facing, but also what is already working for you at European level and at national level. We dig into details a little bit more with 26 interviews in order to really understand our members, but also the brands they are representing in each member state. And we finished with 63 policy recommendations. And the idea was really to suggest and propose concrete solutions to European authorities in order to strengthen our industry. Of course, I will not go through all of those 63 recommendations. That would be a lot. They are targeting a wide range of measures. It can go from financial support to adopting a new regulation, through launching a new research project, or even awareness campaigns, and I will go back to that. And we also focused on all key areas for the fashion industry. To quote a few ones: innovation, education, sustainability, responsible consumption, and we also considered the whole value chain when doing so. The main needs that we have identified by exchanging with the members of EFA. First of all, greater support for SMEs. It is really clear from the report and from our exchanges that SMEs are the backbone of the industry, and it's really important that they are not left behind in the transition that we are currently facing. Second, access to drivers of sustainability and innovation. Again, that can take a lot of different forms. It can go from ensuring that you have easier access to sustainable material in order to make your fashion products, to have easy access to new technology solutions that are going to be essential in the next years, for example, the digital project passport and traceability solutions. So again, ensuring that there is easier access in order to thrive and that nobody is left behind. Third, ensuring fair competition and greater competitiveness. And that's very important in the current context. I'm coming back to the competitive market. Why fair competition? Because today, us as European, we are lucky to have products that need to comply with rules and norms in order to be put on the European market. Of course, today, some products coming from third country players do not always comply with such norms and rules, not because they don't have to, but because there is quite a lack of control at European Union borders. So we are asking for fairer competition to make sure that all the products you will find on the European Union market have to comply with the same requirements, because the European fashion brands do have to, and of course it entails greater cost from an administrative and human point of view in order to be, again, compliant, and it's only fair that all of the stakeholders have to comply with the same. So greater competitiveness also for European Union brands. And finally, guidance. Maybe you already understand from what I'm saying today that the whole context is quite complicated at the time, and stakeholders, they really need guidance in order to understand not only what they will have to comply with, but also which measure they can benefit from. Because of course, not everything is negative. There is already a lot that is being done at European Union level in order to protect and support the industry, but most of the brands, they are not aware of that because there is a lack of clarity on how to access those measures. So what did we generally recommend in order to address those gaps and needs and challenges? First of all, develop those resources, the available ones and new ones, in order to support mostly responsible brands. So again, it can be a financial support to access sustainability regulation or even to develop your e-marketing. The idea is just to make responsible brands and responsible models stronger and to acknowledge also what's already being done. Most of the brands we have talked to told us European fashion, creative fashion, is normally sustainable by essence. We don't really need new rules to tell us how to be sustainable. We just need support to keep doing what we are already doing, and we want to be acknowledged in that. Second, it's precisely what we are doing today, fostering exchange and collaboration within the ecosystem. Why? Because we are a creative and innovative industry, and it's important for the stakeholders to have spaces where they can exchange good practices and also create new opportunities between themselves. And it can also address one challenge that we have identified in the report. There is a disparity between member states when it comes to creative fashion. Fashion is not considered as a strategic industry in every member state. And by creating those spaces of exchange, we could allow brands from smaller markets to access opportunities in bigger markets and in the end strengthen the whole European ecosystem. Third, very important, and this is probably the main goal of EFA, understanding and promoting creative fashion. Because again, in the end, it comes down to which products the consumer is going to favor, but how can we ask them to make great, responsible consumption choices if they don't really understand what's behind it? By promoting creative fashion that is normally more responsible from an environmental and social point of view, we can also make it stronger. So it comes with creating awareness campaigns at European Union level, explaining what is the cost of fashion and how to choose better. Pushing for more information on the sustainability, but also on the social responsibility of products. And in general, promoting at European Union level fashion products that are made within the EU. It makes sense, but today it's not really done at authority level. Fourth general recommendation, again, protecting our segment, the creative fashion segment, versus the other segments. We are facing a competitive market. We are facing offensive players. Of course, the European Union needs to protect what's being done here because it's been done well already. So it comes with, for example, reinforcing custom controls, as I was mentioning, but also protecting intellectual property assets. This is very important for most fashion brands. This is not new. Counterfeiting has always been a problem, and it is even more today. So by strengthening intellectual property, we are protecting the probably most precious assets of fashion brands and, again, making the European fashion industry stronger and more protected. If we manage to implement all of those 63 recommendations, or at least some of them, what would it mean for the consumers? What could those policies enable? First, as I already mentioned, greater awareness, which will lead to greater consumption choices, hopefully, because consumer will have access to more reliable information on how his product was made. Hopefully also fairer prices, because of course if you have financial incentives for sustainable business models or to access sustainable materials, it should impact in a good way the price you're paying in the end for a good fashion product. And finally, more purchasing options, because it would allow for like SMEs or different fashion brands to thrive and to remain on the market. So more purchasing options and hopefully better ones. Thank you very much. If you want to go through all of those 63 recommendations, I invite you to check there's a lot of animation, but at some point, the European Fashion Alliance website when you can download the full report. Thank you very much.